Considered by many to be the final step, we go now to batch testing. We have all our various individual tests defined and working properly, so let's define a method for running all of those tests in an automatic way. This will ensure that all the tests are executed in the same way under the same conditions for every device. It also makes testing much faster because batch testing loads all the files for you. A typical scenario is where an engineer will develop all of the tests and then pass a complete test suite to an operator or technician who will test many devices, like production testing. To create a test suite, we open the Batch Test window from the Advanced Functions panel. We use the plus/minus buttons to add or delete a test from the suite. We first browse for our continuity test. Select the test type, and we give the name Continuity, and click OK. We'll add another test, our Power Pins test. Select test type Pin-to-Pin Connect Test, and let's call it Power Continuity. Spaces are permitted in test names. Now we select this test setup, which is our golden pin file, and set the test type to curve trace. This test will pass or fail depending on how closely the device under test matches our golden device. If we do not have a golden pin file defined, this test will always pass because we have not defined any failing condition. All of the measured values will be saved in a log file, but will have to be post-processed to determine pass or fail. With the tests on your list, you can select one test and just run it from here. You can also use the up-down arrows to change the sequence of the test. When you have everything the way you want it, just save the batch test suite. If we go to our favorite editor, we can open the file. It's just a text file with the extension CBM. Here is the recognizable structure with the keyword, the list of tests, and the end keyword. When you want to run the test, you just load it, hit the Start button, and watch the progress. Our last test is still in progress, but the other tests show the test time. The Pin-to-Pin Connect test was only 176 milliseconds. For this test, if you wanted a curve plot on the power pins, you only need to run it on one pin because Pin-to-Pin Connect test verified that all the power pins are connected together, so the curve plot would be the same for every pin. The test time for continuity is 221 milliseconds. The curve trace test was under 14 seconds. And we see here that the total test time was 14 seconds for all tests. If we had 4 DC-128 boards instead of 2, we could distribute the pins across 16 SMUs instead of across 8, and easily cut our test time to less than 7 seconds. So now let's open the log file and view the results. The first line shows us what this file is for. Here's the current date and time. For each test, we see the test name and execution time, and the path to the file. Notice that we see the complete path, but in the batch file, we see only the file name. Why? Because the test files are in the same location as the batch file. This makes the test suite portable to any folder you may wish to move it to. By having the full path in the log file, you can open this file months later and decide you want to review the test conditions. You will know exactly where the setup file is on the computer. We see the number of pins tested and pins failed, followed by the results for those pins. It's the same for Pin-to-Pin Connect. And for the curve trace, we see the measurements for every plot point. Notice that the units are represented with every measurement in batch mode. This is different than working with the settings, where you have the unit at the top of each column. In batch mode, you have the most accurate results, very important in mass testing. So we provide the exact value for you, down to picoamps and well within our spec. If we are testing many devices, we'll want to click Append so that all the results will be in one log file. We close the log file and run the test again. Of course, the results will be very similar because it's the same device, but normally you would change devices between runs. Now in the log file, we see the results for the first test run. And now we see the results for the second device, appended to the file. So in testing an entire lot, or batch of devices, you can include the results in one log file and send it all along to the next station. Thank you for watching this video series on the Hilevel CurveMaster Curve Tracer.